Hello and welcome to the Virtual Photography Awards 2025 results show, where we're going to announce the 7 category winners as well as the overall Virtual Photographer of the Year. I'm Mick Bromley from the Fourth Focus, and I'm joined here by some of the judges who've helped to choose the winners. So we've got here in no particular order, but we'll save the best till last. We've got Jean Choucroun, no offense to being first, technical and lighting artist at Ubisoft Paris. You've worked on Watch Dogs Legion, Star Wars Outlaws, and the Wildcard DLC, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Valley of Memory, also a DLC pack. We've got Leo Sang, freelance photographer and screenshot and capture artist for NVIDIA. And you've got the interesting distinction of having contributed to over 15 virtual photography articles.
I did a lot of interviews.
It's these lazy writers interviewing the same people all the time. Speaking of which, joking. So please welcome, new to the panel and new to the show, is Beth Nichols, photographer, professional photographer, and tech journalist for Future PLC, writer of Creative Block and Digital Camera World, and you will teach us many things with your master's degree in photography. Thank you for joining. So this show is a little bit later than usual. That's partly because of the record number of entries that we'd had and the quality of entries, actually. So just purely shortlisting all of those into the finalists and the honorable mentions took a bit longer because there's so many good entries. If you haven't already seen them, please do go check the shortlists. They're on the website and they're also here on the YouTube channel in video form. But other than that, stick around and watch all the video, obviously, for the results. But as well, I've got a few Steam keys to give away thanks to one of the supporting partners, which is Critical Hit PR. So stay tuned for those. So we will jump straight in to, because we've got obviously quite a number to show you. First up, we had the action category. The description was to capture the intensity of movement, combat, sports, and racing with dynamic compositions that freeze motion and impactful moments in a single static frame. So before we get to the runners-up and the winner, I think we're just going to run through a couple of interesting entries that you guys enjoyed or we had some comments from the judges on. The first of which is this shot by Draven Redgrave from Wreckfest 2, shot on PC. I'll just give a couple of the judges' comments first, actually. We've got really good composition, maybe a bit more zoomed in would have worked even better. And one of my favourites of the action series, the framing is fantastic, the shot tells a story, and it's really nicely balanced overall. So, how did you enjoy this shot?
Yeah, I also enjoyed this shot. I have this bias with in-car shots. So the framing with the car door and all that, your POV kind of stuff. I just wish there was a little bit more like debris flying around, like car pieces all over the place. But I guess this is up to the game at this point. But I love it. I really like it.
I know what you're saying. They're actually, if you do zoom in, which is kind of what that first comment was getting at, a bit more zoomed in would work better.
Yeah.
But then you might lose the context of in the car view.
Yeah, and the framing with the window.
Exactly, yeah. But if you do look closely, there are quite a lot of objects, loose objects. Like there's that canister, there's tires and wheels all over the place. Yeah. There's plenty going on. And certainly what I get from it is that sense, like you see the POV perspective of being the driver sat, this car's turned sideways, looking, thinking, am I going to get hit right now? You know?
Yeah, it really has a sense of impending doom, kind of.
Yeah.
You feel like in less than a second, that car's going to hit you. It was also one of my favorites from the category, actually. It has a really nice sense of both composition, but a very nice sense of like snapshot in the moment, and you really feel like you're in the car. And I really love this one.
It almost feels a bit VR to me, as if you're kind of the driver wearing a VR headset. This is like unfolding around you.
Yeah, but that's fully point of view, isn't it? If it was a VR, yeah. I would love to include as many images as we can. We're not going to do because otherwise we'll be here literally all night. So we'll try and rattle through them. But one thing I liked in the action category was that we saw more than just combat, and that's asked for in the description. But it's obviously. Sean's just disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know why. Sorry.
I'll put up the little "we'll be back soon" card thing for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Action in gaming is quite often just combat based, and it's nice in a photographic sense to explore more than that. This one, now, this got pretty good scores and comments, I think, from you guys.
I love it.
Yeah. So this is by Long Harpy. It's shot in Grand Theft Auto 5 Legacy. Go on then. You tell me what you enjoyed about it.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I mean, first glance, it looks like it could pass for a real image to me, and it looks almost. It's kind of got that drone perspective, as if it's looking down on the subject. And I think the patterns are amazing. Obviously, the rule of thirds, the symmetry. I think it's a very well thought out image, but at the same time, it's so simple. Which
I have a thing for straight lines, and the
I knew you were gonna say it because I wanted to say it as well.
I like straight lines, and now because this is overhead, I just want those horizontal lines to be parallel, because what that's showing me is that it's not perfectly vertically down; it's slightly panned to the left, which gives me a very faint perspective stretch from one side to the other, and that's my only criticism of it. Feel free to disagree and say don't be so petty, but that's what I see,
Yeah, it catches my eyes, like it's slightly not aligned.
Yeah.
If it was like in a more drastic angle, I think I wouldn't see any problem with it, because it's like intentional. But either way, it's like I guess it's a small detail compared to all the textures. The colors match as well. The slightly bluish pool as well adds a lot to the picture. So I really love it as well. Yeah,
it is cool. Actually, an interesting comment from one of the other judges as part of the comment was that the shadow reminds me of the iconic basketball logo, which I would never have thought of, but I can see what they're getting at with there. Okay, so many good action shots, but we'll get straight on to our top three. So in third place, we have this shot from Murphy VP. It's taken in Marvel Spider-Man 2, the PC version actually. And we've got a couple of judges' comments here. Really good concept and angle. Great image. Really feels like you're at street level with your camera on an amazing day in New York. Fantastic image, yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, I really love this one because it's different than most of the shots we regularly see from Spider-Man. We see many great shots, but this one has a different feel. I like the super high FOV, almost like fisheye perspective, that really kind of sells the sense of speed, even though like the photographer would not be the one that would have insane speed. It would be Spidey, but it really works. I really love the composition as well. The bridge, the bridge cables are perfectly centered. I think it's a great shot.
Now, it's interesting that you said it's different to what we usually see from Spider-Man, because there was a similar shot last year, which was I don't know if it's the same bridge, but it was a very wide horizontal shot with Spider-Man kind of above, and the bridge was a different element. This is a different take on that idea anyway, because it's going through the bridge. Is there a little bit of motion blur on the bridge supports there as well? I get a slight sense that the camera is kind of tracking with Spider-Man, maybe. But yeah, it's in third place. Obviously, you all liked it, I think. In second place, Shkegulka, and I'm sorry if pronunciations of some of the usernames are wrong. I want to switch to real names, but everybody does like to stick to an online persona, which is perfectly fine. Some of the names I always think, how do I say this? So this is a shot from Black Myth Wukong. Okay, so this is an extremely great compliment. The shot alone has made me want to play the game and could stand as promotional material. I think that might have been you actually, Beth.
I've never played this game before, but it looks like that shot alone makes me want to go and buy it right now. I think it looks great. My only kind of, if I was nitpicking about this image, and I think obviously some of the other judges picked up on it, is the front character. It's so difficult to kind of make out his position. Like, is he kind of like bending over? That's the only thing I think that lets it down. But otherwise, I think it's a stunning shot.
Absolutely. So again, a couple of the other comments were nice image, but hard to read the pose of the character. The head of the Neo character is impossible to see, which gives a bit of a perspective problem. I think it's one of those, once you understand the position of the character, you can see it perfectly fine and it absolutely works. But coming to it cold, I can understand that you might think, what's going on there? I've got one dislike about it, and this is, I think it comes from the PC tools used, and it's that kind of rotational edge blur. There's like it works on the staff because the staff looks like it's moving, but there's a blur around the whole edge of the image, which doesn't work for me because that's telling me that the camera's rotating. I'm not a fan of that, but otherwise, fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with those points as well, like the character movement, the slight blur, but everything else, like the quality of the image, the smoke, where every object is placed, the enemy's pose, the lighting is like, this is so nice.
Yeah,
I love this image.
we get often these man versus huge enemy type of combat scenes as well, but it's not over the top on that. It's not a giant again, so I think it's really imposing but well balanced actually. And yeah, the light just fell down. Why not? We'll leave it. So on that note, we'll move on to the winner. So the first winner, and this is winner of the action category, is this shot by Virtual Tourism in Session Skate Sim on PS5. I can give. Go on.
I was just going to say, I can see why this one won. I think it's a really creative shot. I like it.
Yeah, there's just that simplicity thing. The shadow is nice. It's crispy. The posing is fun. There's the wood texture. It works. It's really nice
work.
to see. Yeah.
And just to echo some of the other comments then, so one of them actually thought it was a bit off balance with some dead space, but I personally think that adds to it because it's kind of space for it to move into. It's like down the ramp. I can read what's happening here because I can see the skateboard, obviously. And I think that space is useful because it gives an indication of what action is to come. Excellent shot with movement implied by the shadow, very creative. Honestly gives me the vibe of a game cover and appears simple at first glance, seemingly regular POV capture, but after a moment looking, I really appreciate how the shadow relays the action behind the photo. And that's true because it's the shadow that shows us the whole shape of the body and the person on the skateboard, but then cleverly, just the shot of the foot on the board, just to give you that perspective that it's from them. So congratulations to Virtual Tourism, the winner of the action category for 2025. And we'll just take a moment to try and get Jean back on.
Yeah, animate Jean's jaws when he speaks on like South Park.
Yeah, I really, really love this one. Well done.
Perfect opportunity for us to go to our first Steam code giveaway. So the first set is codes for Ayasa Shadows of Silence, courtesy of Critical Hit PR. And this is a game, a dark tale of survival and conscience, blending platforming, puzzles, and haunting beauty. Will you restore light or embrace the darkness? And there is a nice photo mode in there, actually, which is unusual for a platformer. So grab those codes while you can. I'm sure they will go. Okay, so on to the collection category. And this was new last year, I think. And I absolutely loved the response to it. So it absolutely is going to stick around. The idea is that it's not just about single shots, right? So the description, again, more than just a single image, this seeks cohesive bodies of work that show a common artistic concept, sequence, or visual language across 3 or more images. I actually limited it to 12 because I didn't want people just giving me, here's my entire folder of shots from X, Y, Z. And there's a couple that I just want to show for specific reasons. Now, the first one is this, and it's called Analog Decay by Antic Owl. It's shot in Cyberpunk Control and Returnal, but that's only the first step. And these first two are both kind of mixed media style, taking the virtual photography screenshot into another technology and giving it a different presence. So this one is based on work by Rob Sheridan, which takes images of a CRT screen through a digital camera matched to the pan sweeping scan lines, an HDMI converter through what was called a mismatcher petite to glitch the images, and then something to remove screen tearing. Now, the results are screenshots that are completely distorted, and I think it's a really fascinating exploration of what else you can do with this digital art medium.
Yeah, especially because it's not strictly virtual anymore. It's like taking pictures of a game through an actual IRL camera, and then with a ton of post process. Like I think the idea is really great. I do think it runs into one of the main issues I can have with this category is that you mentioned that you set the limit to 12. I feel like 12 is already a lot. And in most cases, if it goes like beyond 5 or 6, it's really hard to actually have each new picture bring something to the collection that wasn't already seen in a previous one. So I think this one ends up sort of repeating itself in places, but I really like the idea, and the process is really super interesting, I think.
I understand what you're saying there about keeping the cohesive theme or adding to the theme without just, like you say, repeating. So it can be true. Some of them, I think, would have benefited from more images where you think this is brilliant, but there's only 3 and I wanted a few more. But I just think it's a very novel approach, and it, rather than post-process editing, it's an in-process technique, if you will. So the other one, which was a similar, it's similar in one way in that it's taken it into a new medium, is this one, which was called The Empire of Never. It's by Dramatic Exodus, and please go to the gallery and read the artist's full description of this work, because it's quite meaningful, actually. So I'm not going to go through all of that, but a little excerpt from what he said was, "This is a series is a natural reaction to the changes unfolding in my homeland of Russia, where the illusion of free will mirrors computer games with scripted narratives and limited choices. Using a thermal printing toy," come on. "I've taken the people, walls and trees from their digital purgatory into physical reality. Printing unleashes time. Time brings death as the thermal images begin to fade after printing. Triggering time, I trigger death, and at last I let them die." As a concept, I was absolutely staggered by that.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I really, really like this. In particular, I think this project, I'm even calling it a project because it feels complete. It has a conceptual core, the writing, the reason. There's a mood, feeling-driven narrative as well that you translate or you try to communicate through these images, and then you have the analog, the mechanical way to process all these ideas together. So I think like this is a nice complete project, like a full of content. So it's like, wow, this is a really nice shot. Really love it.
Yeah, the images work well with it as well. You could have just tried any old images and say, well, they're all done this thermal printer, but actually if you analyze them as images, they themselves fit the theme and they fit the visual style. I think it's really clever.
Yeah, what I like about these is, like, I like that they make me feel really uncomfortable looking at them. It evokes like a strong reaction. And I think if I were to see these images individually, I'd never in a million years think that they were virtual images or taken from games, which I think is really cool.
I always think that that's a great compliment if you don't know it's from games or you don't know which game it's from, etc. Because that means it's more about the result of the image and the artistic expression, and that's 100% what this one is. This one I know that you in particular liked, Leo. It's the Hi-Fi Rush the comic. So it's by Vane, and surprisingly it was shot in Hi-Fi Rush on PC. I'll just give the artist's description. So he says, comic format was the best approach for this game. Each shot consisted of either a single panel or a multi-part comic strip. Kept editing to a minimum, only used for cropping. The rest is done on the fly with reshade.
Right. Yeah, this one very interesting as well. This could be a storytelling submission because, well, comic books is a storytelling medium. He had to think of all the actions individually to all the panels. Each panel is a theme, basically. So it's like, okay, this is also a great job. Good stuff.
Yeah, and I also really like that it takes the visual style and the art direction from the game, which already looks kind of like this and already has this super comic aesthetic, and tries to bring that through the piece. So yeah, I really like that. But the one thing that I would say is that I was kind of disheartened to see that it didn't tell a single story, and so it felt a little uncohesive in the end. It felt like there was maybe a bit too many images for it to be like a really solid single collection, I felt. But I really love the idea, and it must have taken a ton of work to create all of this. So definitely. Props to you, Dane.
So I think we could go through every collection and praise it because they're really very good, and beyond the finalists as well, the honorable mentions and even the ones that didn't quite make that cut. There's some really fantastic work in there. Conscious of taking too long, so we will just get on to the runners up. Sorry. So in third place we have A City I Still Carry by Norika Captures. This was taken in The Matrix Awakens on PS5. I initially thought it was going to be probably Spider-Man or a Grand Theft Auto, but cool to see The Matrix Awakens still being in there. These images reflect fragments of the city where it reveals itself not as a place but as a feeling, traces and imprints left by movement, routine, and waiting, etc. I think it does exactly what it's set out to do, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think this one is the perfect length because it shows a bunch of stuff without repeating itself. It has a very cohesive through line with the black and white, of course, with the shadows, with the lines and everything. So I think this one is really nice, and it doesn't surprise me to see that it's coming from The Matrix Awakens because it really looks great. And actually, some of those, I was like, these almost look like real pictures. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It was one of my favorites.
Yeah. So on to second place, we have Touch the Untouchable by, and now if anybody knows how to say this name, I'd like to hear.
I don't
know.
Why is Cutie? Thank you for that. But yes, it's a collection from Horizon Forbidden West, Cyberpunk, and Ghost of Yotei, all shot on PS5. And it's this kind of... we've seen it done quite a lot of hands and perspectives on distant objects. But I think it's a particularly well-executed example of that. Would you agree?
Yeah, especially because it's hard to make hands feel natural or soft or portray these specific emotions. Like hands are means of communication for humans as well, and I think they were able to find this communication with all the elements, the play of elements. It's really, really nice.
Go on, sorry, Beth.
No, it's like the only thing that bothers me about this, I think they're beautiful images individually, but I love the butterfly one where they're kind of like pointing up and reaching. I think that should have been one of the larger images, but that's just how they've done it. But I think they're all really good.
Yeah.
I can't criticize anyone for that because the layouts will vary because that layout was from the gallery as submitted, not necessarily by their creation, and it changes by screen size, you see. So yeah, I think that point about communication is good because the hand poses are all different, and like the one around the fish, it looks like it's sort of enclosing the fish and constraining it some way. You've got the chopsticks and the one that's holding the moon. They are different gestures. A really interesting comment from one of the judges. There's one sensation that I absolutely cannot comprehend, and it's when things appear. It sometimes appears to me in dreams. There's a lack of proper scale when some things feel larger than others, while other things feel surprisingly small. This collection gives me that sensation. I'm never sure if it's pleasant or stressful, but I really admire how these shots are able to do it. You've got to commend anything that evokes that kind of feeling.
Definitely.
Okay, so on to the winner, and this was a fairly unanimous choice, actually. So it is The Weight of Time by PMI Plotnikov, shot in Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC. The comment from the artist was his time, his witnesses, his end. And you've got essentially a vertical triptych of images.
Yeah, this one was my favorite from the collection category. It's super smart, both in the subject matter, the actual layout, I think, was really smart. Actually, initially, I was looking through the galleries with the previous and next buttons, so I didn't see I didn't necessarily see the cover. And then when I went back through the gallery itself, I saw it, and it made all the more sense. That was my favorite. Once again, I think it tells a very simple, cohesive story in 3 images. You don't feel like you need any more than 3 in this case. I feel it really tells everything that it has to say with those 3. And yeah, it was my favorite for sure.
Well, it's deliberately 3, isn't it? Because, like you said, his time, which is the clock, his witnesses, which are the kind of carrion crows waiting for his inevitable demise at the end of this, and we've got the noose to sort of depict that. I even just enjoy, there's a slight taper up the alignment of the pole and the tree, and then the clock pole. It's done to perfection.
It's very cleverly composed.
Yeah. While managing to communicate something as well. So you can go maybe too simple and not achieve that, but this does both. Other comments, this is close to perfection and really well thought out. Very, very cool idea of time and its effect. The storytelling is heavy. And another one, amazing, very heavy collection. I love it. So there you go. Congratulations to PMI Plotnikov, winner of the collections category. Okay, on to environment. So this one has been around most of the years, actually. Broad interpretations of the varied and wonderful world of video games. Turn to your surroundings to capture the interest that can be found in landscapes, nature, urban areas, and fantasy locations. I just want to include this one. It's by Ags Gaming, taken in Hitman, and it's got a very atmospheric feel to it, but I think is a little sort of, and I hope it was intentional, a bit of an underlying narrative on the real world's environmental concerns, etc. So I work in the nuclear industry as a researcher. Cooling towers are like something of a iconic thing for places like Sellafield, the old cooling towers, and people who dislike the industry hate that kind of thing. So I just think it's an interesting object to include. You've got the birds overhead, you've got the moody, gloomy clouds.
Yeah, I like this one as well because it has like it's very moody, but it's very dark on the left and brighter on the right, and the clouds kind of start to part. So it does have a bit of story woven in as well. So yeah, I enjoyed this as well.
We'll move straight again onto the runners up and the winner then. So in third place, and this one had a title which I enjoy, by the way. If anybody gives a deliberate title, it's called Great Sand Sea, and it's by Summers458, shot in Assassin's Creed Origins. We have one comment that says the horse is too static, but horses do stand still, so that doesn't bother me. I think it's perfectly fine to stand and admire this sunset. Another is a sucker for silhouetted sunset images, beautifully done, but I feel tortured that the sun is only just kissing the mountaintop and not breaking the horizon. Probably a creative choice, but one that torments me personally. So, yeah, I like the sweeping nature of the sand dunes, and it feels like that title of Great Sand Sea sort of implies a motion, an active surface, and that looks like what the sand is there.
Yeah, but I really like this one as well, and just what you mentioned with the motion in the sand. But the one thing that I would that actually kept it from being one of my very top favorites is I think the composition could be a bit tighter. I feel like it's very bottom heavy, and the top is nice, but it's a bit too large probably. So I would have liked to either have the sun a bit higher, or to actually have it maybe a bit lower while it's setting, actually touching the horizon, and actually cropping the top so that the dudes in the bottom get more of the attention, because I think they're the main thing that drew my eye were the dunes, and I would have liked them to be a bit more prominent in the composition.
I agree with your point, but actually when I first saw this one, I thought it had a really good rule of thirds. So if you imagine the image like split into 3 columns, I think it's got a focal point in each section, which I thought was really nice. But now you've pointed out about it being like a little bit too much sky. Now I kind of can't unsee it. So
sorry.
It's too centered, if there is such a thing. So on to second place. This is from Grand Theft Auto 5. It's taken by Stansing on Xbox Series X. It's one of those. It's not. I don't know. It's almost like from the top of a tower or from a helicopter shot or something. But you've got that sort of wide angle perspective that really emphasizes the distance to the ground. Right. It's got a lot of verticality about it.
Yeah, it emphasizes the distance to the ground, and it stretches the buildings, making them feel like they're actually gonna scrape the sky, like for skyscrapers. So yeah, I enjoyed the FOV, especially. I think is what works on this shot. Definitely, it really helps sell the feeling of the shot.
And the same with all the kind of cloud and the mist. We're almost above the clouds, aren't we? And I think if that was a clear view down to street level, it would be a lot less interesting. Whether you interpret it as smog or just I think it feels like an early morning mist or something to me. Like the sun's just arriving from over there, and there's a city waking up in that kind of thing.
And I didn't even recognize it was GTA, because it's usually the city's vibrant and it's a lot of happening, and this feels very slow with all the clouds, kind of moody, the mute tones as well. So it's like really nice.
So we have our winner of the environment category, and it is this shot by Murphy VP, shot in Red Dead 2 Redemption on PC. And some comments are, feels like it should be hung on a wall or a movie poster. Strange and fantastic, such a cool perspective, and the winner in my opinion. Well, so it proved to be. I'll take your thoughts on it first, and then I've got something to say.
I just know, it feels dreamy, kind of like that Inception moment of the buildings folding, of some sort of that thing. It's nice.
Yeah, it looks great. The one thing that made it not be like my top choice is that I feel like it almost is one step too far in the digital art realm, rather than just pure virtual photography. Although editing was allowed in the submissions, I feel like this one maybe strays a bit too far from the base material and looks a little unreal. So that's why I didn't put it at the top. But I really think it looks great, and yeah, it's definitely very striking.
So that's what I was going to just address, and the artist has got a video showing the process of this, and it is basically what I would liken to a panorama stitched image. So it's where every component of this is taken from that perspective in the game, and then there are stitched images. So rather than I know what you're saying about what's the line between digital art and photography. You're right, the edits were allowed, but it asked for things that were predominantly photographic in nature, which I do believe this still is. In the same way that if you take your camera phone and do that panorama sweep or the 360 shot, you're not going to say, well, that's no longer a photograph. Because you just consider it a photo, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, the perspective can't be achieved in one shot. But that image stitch of a series of shots doing it put together creates one really remarkable image.
Yeah.
I do have one criticism in that one of the I'll have to zoom in on the show, but there's a mismatched frame at the top where there's a slight bit if you look in the top left.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think it would have helped maybe if the creator maybe explained that it was a pano, because the problem I had with the image is I really like it, but I didn't quite understand it. I didn't understand like what it was. So knowing that it's kind of like a panorama, that makes a lot more sense to me now.
I see. Yeah. I think maybe they didn't want you to understand it. I don't know. It's that it's got that kind of, like you said, Inception, that kind of non-reality feel to it. But I think it's an interesting direction of where people can go with more than just pressing screenshot, right? You know, there's more to this. So we'll just give you another chance then to grab some of the Steam codes on offer from Critical Hit PR. These ones are for The Shore, which is a first-person story-driven game with an atmospheric environment and narration. You'll encounter mysterious creatures and unravel the secrets behind them. Struggle to survive in an unknown world with strong elements of horror that will make you question your own sanity. To be honest, I think running these awards makes me do that. So take the codes if you've got them. Go claim those on Steam and enjoy the game. Okay, on to a new category for this year, and I got many questions about what is this. The category is lo-fi, low fidelity meaning. So the description was embrace photographic imperfections and experimentation for a raw and mood-driven aesthetic. Images here should have an evocative and less technically precise style. What I wanted to go for by adding this category is that games themselves and also virtual photography has that kind of tendency to chase graphical fidelity and perfection. We're always on about how good does it look? What resolution can it be? Why does that have to matter? And what will people do when that's not part of the equation? Instead of chasing resolution and fidelity, let it all go and just purely give me something that is more the feel of a moment rather than a perfected, manicured version of it. So that's what we're looking for. And lo-fi photography is a well-established thing. So there's plenty of examples out there. People did ask me for examples, which I didn't want to give because I didn't want to say, here's what you should do.
Yeah.
It's go and interpret it. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I think it's especially important for this category that people do interpret it, because it can mean so many different things, and it can be imperfect in so many different ways. So I think it was good that you didn't necessarily give a couple of examples, because it would have hampered the creativity that we were able to see in the submissions. Although I will say that I felt when scrolling through the category that many submissions didn't truly feel lo-fi to me. So yeah, I think you could tell it was a new category and people were still getting to grips with what it meant. But yeah, I think it's super interesting to have it in there.
I'm happy with that actually, because one of the things I sort of want to achieve is to challenge people's ideas and inspire new ones. So it's perfectly fine if a lot of people are like, well, I don't really get that, but I'll enter anyway because that's great. And then now you've got this selection that we've seen, and that should hopefully give people the ideas of, oh right, now I understand, I can see. So there were some brave things like this shot from Indica by Auron, and it's deliberately overexposed. So, and again, one of the judges' comments nails it perfectly. This intentionally mimics the overexposure of film to create subtlety around the character's expression, which is extremely thoughtful. Another one though said, too bright, feels like the subject is becoming a blob. This one I thought was interesting. It's from someone called Utent1, shot in control on PS5. Different comments from judges. Some said would have preferred it to focus on his face. Others said, I love how the depth of field doesn't focus on the face, which is how I see it. I don't know what you think on that.
Yeah, definitely. That was my favorite from the whole category. I think it's such a unique angle. I would have never thought to shoot the janitor from bottom up, basically. And yeah, I think it works, especially because the focus isn't on his face. His expression is kind of lost in the bokeh, the lights on the ceiling as well. look great. The hands look super sharp. It almost feels like he has a GoPro taped to his broomstick. Yeah, I really love this one. Well done.
Yeah, all the light, unfocused lights, I think is perfect as well. It has a little bit of mirror, has all the patterns, and his crazy face is just perfect.
So into the top 3 then. So in third place, we have from Nemu, which is a shot from Ghost of Yote, shot on PS5. And there was quite a few comments on this one. I'll just pick out a couple of them. By far my favourite of the series, of the category that is. I love the use of colour here and the distant memory effect. I adore the way this shot looks like a painting, but also that like 2 shots mistakenly overlaid, kind of a double exposure idea. The yellow lines look like they could be damage to a canvas or a light leak through a broken camera. Great intention all around.
Yeah, I really love this one as well. It has a bit of, I think it also kind of part of the lo-fi thing, a little bit of naivety or something like that. Yeah, it's the accidental double exposure. There's an experimentation feeling to this image as well. Like this person, the subject wasn't ready for the photo. It was not candid, and then let's try. Let's see what this double exposure does, and the result kind of invites you into feeling this indescribable mood sort of thing. So it doesn't need to be explicit. It invites you with something over there. Really like this one.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things is actually that it's quite grainy, because I think it could easily been like high definition, very sharp, very like in your face, vibrant, whereas actually the subtlety I think is what works best for it.
Absolutely. And I think that they've done this one using, so the Ghost of Yote photo mode got a recent update where they added shutter speed. And that's something that we see very rarely still in photo mods, racing games aside, because they use it just to interpolate some frames to motion blur. But this one has shutter speed similar to Lush Foil, by the way. Lush Foil has a fantastic implementation of it. You can have an open shutter and move the camera, so you can actually generate in-camera movement, and you can do the same in Ghost of Yote. It's very rare right now, but I'd love to see more of this in photo mods, because this is exactly the kind of thing it enables.
Yeah, definitely. It makes a ton of sense for Yote's world and photo mode, because you have the particles, you have the leaves flowing everywhere. So the shutter speed really works in that photo mode, and it came at the perfect time to be used for the for the competition.
Yeah, and in future, by the way, studios, if you have a big photo mode update, please, we'll show it here. Let's do the reveals.
I'll be championing the Ubisoft. You can trust me.
In second place, and it's actually another shot from Ghost of Yote by Spidey Two Shoes, shot on PS5 again. So I've written here as a reminder to myself that this was the closest result between first and second through all of the judges' scores. So I used several metrics to convert your scores into results, right? So they were tied on one of them, separated by 1 point on another, and 0.05 points on another metric. So it could hardly have been any closer between this and the winner. Everybody loved it. I wondered whether it was fully lo-fi or just minimalist. Don't know what your thoughts are on that.
That's a good question. I think I would consider it a bit of both. I mean, it definitely is fully minimalistic. I would still consider it to be a bit lo-fi, because there's some grain, so that immediately kind of leads me to think, oh, it's not technically perfect, although it depends on the conditions, whatever. But it's kind of a shortcut to a lo-fi vibe sometimes. There's some blur in the hair and everything. Now that you say it, maybe the character feels a bit too tack sharp for it to be fully lo-fi. But yeah,
it is as a thumbnail. But actually, if you do zoom in, then you're right that it is slightly out of focus, and it's got that just it does have the right feel to it. Yes, the grain certainly adds to it, and you're right that grain can be a shortcut to lo-fi without necessarily being a meaningful one, but it works here because it's quite a dark image, so you will get film grain when the light is low, right? So it's in keeping here. But yeah, the subject, if you do zoom in, isn't actually in focus. There is a bit of blur on the hair as well. I think it's a fascinating shot, actually. So we'd like to see what was so close. And the winner in first place is this shot by Pip, and it's taken in Cyberpunk on PS5, actually. I think this nails the old camera, sort of cheap optics, that kind of feel.
Like the bad balance between the overexposed light from the sky and being dark under the tunnel. It's like it's how a city, it's a casual phone pic from a city. It's perfect. It emulates that feeling really well.
Yeah, it almost feels like you're walking through the city and you have your camera like by your leg, like you're carrying, and you almost accidentally took the picture. It actually happened to me a few times, and I didn't come up with anything this good, but it kind of feels like that, that like the composition is also kind of feels a little unbalanced, which definitely works because it's in the lo-fi category, I think. The super overexposed sky, both the character and the car with the right amount of blur. Yeah, this one is really nice.
I'm gonna say, and this applies to I think several of these, but that one in particular, and the Ghost of Yota one with the yellow, it's the kind of shot where if you used to take your film to be developed and you'd get them back with a sticker on with some advice telling you what you've done wrong. And I mean it in the best way. That's the kind of image that they would have told you that you've got your focus wrong, and they give you the little condescending sticker on what you should do better. You probably, unless you've got, I don't know, 15 years experience in photography, you might not understand what those stickers were, but and the rest, 25, 30 years, isn't it? I can just see it. I want someone to put the sticker on and make that part of their presentation of it. But yes, I think it's a fantastic shot. I think it's a great representation of the category. Okay, so on to open category. So this one was intended just to be a bit more freedom, really. So images that fall outside the scope of other categories, freedom to create striking and original shots of any photographic style and genre. So first one up, because one of the judges particularly wanted to see it on here, find this the most interesting image in this category. The red line leads my eye down to an interesting oblivion of colour and intrigue. So it's by Barry, shot on control by a PS5, and it's
super striking, like the fully black, the red tones. It's one of the rare cases where 9x16 works, because like the other judge said, like you have the line that's actually drawing your eye down all the way to the focal point, which is the character. I really like also that the character's silhouette is a bit hard to read because it's control, like you're used to seeing floating bodies with weird silhouettes and stuff. So I think it really captures the a specific part of the of Control's art direction, and this is one of my favorites from the category.
So in third place we have this shot by Spidey Two Shoes. I think that's the second runner-up for Spidey Two Shoes. So bad luck, but well done at the same time. There are prizes for the runners-up, remember. So we've had a lot of game codes in particular given from the supporting partners this year. So it's great to be able to give something to the runners-up. So this is from Marvel Spider-Man 2 on PS5. And one of the comments was another strong entry in a competitive category. Superb image. I think that's right. For the open category, which doesn't have a specific direction, there's some really strong ideas, actually.
Yeah, having played Spider-Man, I know how difficult this image would have been to have captured, and how to angle it and how to like time it perfectly with the bird. So the artist must have noticed the birds were kind of moving in this direction, and then had to like pause the game and then try and. So props for effort, because I know how difficult that must have been, and I think the idea is lovely as well. It works really nicely.
Yeah, definitely.
That is a good point about setting up the shot, because we often think that virtual photography and photo modes give you that advantage that of freezing time, so you can capture whatever you want because you've got all day to move around and get the perfect angle. But something like that also requires you to stage it in the first place. And all right, Spider-Man can swing some massive distances, but those birds won't hang around for long. So that kind of thing brings in a little bit of that element of what you need in real photography, real world photography, of capturing moments and seeing chances and seizing chances. So yeah, you're absolutely right that
it's also, I think, a great indication of what can be achieved with the open category. I really like that you added it, because sometimes you have great images that don't necessarily feel like they fit perfectly for a specific category, and you're like, okay, I love this one, but maybe it doesn't fit the theme as well. So I think it's a great addition to have the open category, because people can just submit whatever work they want, and this one is definitely one that shines.
And we want to see the best shots. So
yeah.
In second place then, and I guess this is another debate for the boundary of digital art versus photography, right? So this is by XJQXZ66. I think it's Gabriella is better known as, yes. Cyberpunk on PC. So it's kind of, I think the difference for me between this and the environment shot of the train track is, whereas that one sort of uses a fairly established technique of the panorama and this image stitch, this one is a multitude of layered elements. And I think, for me, this is the one that I would say is too far towards the digital art.
Yeah.
Fantastic concept, perfectly executed though, and deserves all full credit for that. But I do think that that's the kind of boundary in some ways.
I would agree as well. It's just like the other one. Before I knew that it was actually stitched from within the game. This one is like, it's really nice, but once again, I agree with you. It feels a bit too far on the digital art side, and that's why I didn't include it in my top picks. But yeah, it's really nice. The idea is great. It almost has a sort of tilt shift idea with, like, you feel like you're bringing a tiny toy outside of the phone, whatever. It's really nice.
One of the other judges said, I really like the use of tilt shift, but then Cabratic was saying, I don't think it is technically tilt shift, which it's not. It's more just depth blurring, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, that the masking and etc. to go through, like it's coming out of the object and heading off the screen. There's no point in saying, it's just because of the edit, because it still takes a lot of creativity and imagination to come up with the concept, and that absolutely deserves credit. Finally, then, the winner. So we have first place is Giving a Hand in Holding Nature Together, another one with the title, and it's by Harry1495G. Interestingly, that this shadow silhouette style. So I remember last year, and it was the same photographer in Collections had a series of shadows, which I was convinced was going to win. It didn't. So I think deservedly so to see this take the top marks. So comments include uniquely perfect, amazing concept, really striking image. It tells a story and keeps me fascinated.
Yeah, I love this one. It's super striking because it works on multiple layers. Like, first off, it's super striking with the strong contrast between the shadow and the white wall. The white wall isn't fully white; it has the straight lines. Then you see the man silhouette in the trunk, and then you see he's looking up, and then you see there's a bird. Like, it really works as you move through the image. I think.
But yeah, everything is so well placed, sharp at the right amount. The shadows, all the little elements. Yeah, it's so nice.
The only thing I can't figure out is what came first, the man or the tree.
Or the bird.
No, I think it's fascinating, and I could stare at it for hours, just trying to figure out like how it was composed, how it was taken. But I think the result is beautiful.
Yeah,
my understanding, I think, is that these are done essentially with invisible characters. Is that right? So the shadow is created from a character which is then invisible to the camera. So it's very creative, and I just love the alignment. It's even you can just about read that the character's looking up towards the bird, and obviously the tree's like a raised arm. But yes, man or tree, chicken or egg type scenario. Okay, so time for another Steam code selection for you. So this is for Abtos Covert. Again, thanks to Critical Hit PR. The game is you are tasked to guard a remote military outpost on Mount Abtos. The infamous outpost is surrounded by dense forest and a mysterious old shrine, while being shrouded in local folklore stories of the paranormal. Will you be safe all alone? This, and by the way, there's a really interesting photo mode in this where you can place the actors, the sort of enemy actors, if you will, the paranormal elements. You can place them in and animate them, so you can actually have them move through your shot. And it's only a very tiny area to work with, but it's very interesting in what you can try and do with that. So please help yourself to those codes. So people category, this changed from portrait because I thought portrait was too narrow. We got a lot of headshots, which can look fantastic, but I wanted it to be a bit broader than that. And I think, as you'll see in some of these choices here, people definitely embrace that and have shown a bit more of what it asked for, which was shots that focus on characters, individuals or groups, in a personal context to create a connection to the viewer through expressions of identity, emotion, and culture. So more human side of things rather than just fantastic portrait shot. So I think one interesting example of that is this one by Nerda in Red Dead Redemption 2, shot on PC. And it's this lady playing the violin. Again, one of the couple of the judges' comments, while it shows less of the character, it still feels like a very effective composition. The other one was, I want to know more about this woman. And that's exactly what it should achieve, yeah?
Yeah. And I actually like that the composition shows less of the character, because it actually draws me in, because like you said, it's not just another portrait, another great portrait of a character. It's actually like, once again, the DOF is perfectly set up to actually show and to actually focus on the hand, because like in this moment the character is actually focusing on the playing, and if you were in that room, you would interact with this character through the music that she's playing, actually.
Yeah, exactly right. It's more about her hobby, her passion for the music, than it is necessarily about how good a character model looks. And that's exactly what this category was looking for. Well, both really, actually. So this one again was a really brave. I like this. It's a brave entry. So it's by Screen Chi from Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, shot on PS5. And this comment here from the judge is exactly sort of how I appreciate it, really. A fantastic way to interpret the people category by subverting expectations. The viewer not only doesn't get to see the people properly, but the visual style and texture raise questions about their identities and whether these characters are still around. A powerful thought to evoke. Yes, that's exactly the sort of thing that we were looking for. So I know that you might think, well, but the image quality, but that doesn't matter, as the lo-fi category shows us.
Yeah,
it's deliberate, and that's why it works. Yeah,
of course. It feels like an old rule of film that you would have forgotten and then developed too late or whatever. Like it's really nice.
Yeah. So Leo, I'm going to throw this one at you because it was one that you picked out for special mention.
Oh yeah, this one. I really like this one. Again, a bit of bias towards in-car shots, but it does have a little bit.
Seeing a trend here.
Yeah.
Next year we're gonna get 200 in-car shots.
In-car shot category. Yeah. There is a lot to explore. Like the car has this a little bit of storytelling, driving. Ha ha ha. But this the character has this really nice expression, looking out beyond, looking out the window. The lines from the kind of like old cars with the back windows with the
heaters,
heater lines. Yeah, I really like it. It has this. You can imagine also some sort of how do you say, an advert sort of photo as well. Yeah, I really like it. I really like it.
One of the critiques from it was a great shot. A tighter crop could be used so that the arm isn't severed at the joint. And this is a photographer thing. I don't think that it's something I'm particularly sensitive to, but I know there's a sort of established logic, I guess, to avoid cropping at joints just to make it look less awkward. I don't feel that that's bothering me here. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I don't. I didn't even notice. I just noticed after reading the comment as well.
Yeah.
I think these are guidelines.
Of course,
we use them as base, and we can
you can break them. Yep.
Yeah.
So again, onto the top three, and I think all three of these show really different interpretations of the people category. Third place, Shinobi Space, and it's shot in Clear Obscure Expedition 33 on PC. And okay, one of the comments was nice image, maybe better for action category though. Kind of agree there, but I do get that it's the people, because it's such a strong silhouette of the people. I get a kind of team vibe from it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I love this one because it's, like you said, the category is not portrait anymore, it's people. And we saw many more shots of actually groups of people, and especially like in Expedition 33, like most of the story and the narrative is about the group of people and how they're interacting and whatever. And so I think this one really works. The silhouette is super strong. I like that, of course, the Eiffel Tower is leaning the way in which they're going, so it really brings everything together. I also like that I believe it's mild silhouette that's that sort of is has a foot that's lower in the ground, so it almost feels like she's impacting the world, which kind of makes sense if you know the story.
Yeah, it does have that adventure with your buddies sort of thing. Yeah, let's go.
The only thing I wonder with that one is I do think it might have been a bit more striking if it was in black and white, maybe. And I hate saying that because I do love images that are color and not black and white. But I do think this kind of like greeny yellow tone is a little bit distracting. But again,
I'd be interested to see that actually.
Yeah.
Shall I edit that in for the final copy? We can see. Am I allowed to modify the shots now? But that's a good point, because I do feel a little bit drawn away past them, and that's quite possibly because of the color making the background a bit more distracting. Yeah. Okay, so second place, and this is by Edward Frames, Cyberpunk, as you can see, shot on PC, and this absolutely is a super high quality but quite imaginative headshot portrait.
Yeah,
it's really like well crafted. I think it's like nice.
Yeah, you can see the work behind the shot, like placing the light, etc. And it also stands out from, once again, the many other very nice portraits that we see, because this one has something like, it has the tiny twist. The one thing that I would hold against it is that the place where the actual lines cross is like on the top of her head, and my eye is kind of drawn there rather than on the eyes at first. And so that's not the most interesting place for them to be. But yeah, it's definitely, I think, the best of these straight portraits that we've seen.
I think that's a leading lines type scenario there, where the lines are leading you to something that's not a point of interest.
Yeah.
Other comments were my favourite so far, another that could easily be a game's front cover, I'd buy it. Nice ringing concept. And then this shot is so rich, the way the character's eyes are illuminated by peaking light is clever. The shadow used to reveal just enough expression with a show don't tell tactic. Is the character angry? That's the implication with the use of red, but we don't know for sure, and that's what I find brilliant. So yeah, they did actually have a collection of these, and perhaps one of my criticisms is on maybe, and it's hard to say on originality because you're obviously saying it's a really well crafted thing, but I have seen a similar set in the past before as well, but nothing against the end result. So in quite contrast to that, in first place, and it's Yui's Cutie again, and I apologise for the name, but so Yui's Cutie 10 shot in Horizon Forbidden West on PS5, and this is a kind of intimate personal moment is how I see this. It's absolutely not a high quality portrait shot. We don't even see a full face or anything. Comments were creative framing to convey an intimate moment, calm and tense at the same time.
Yeah, it's super different than what we've seen before. I think it would definitely qualify for lo-fi as well, as for this category. And yeah, I agree with the comment that it feels a little tense because like you don't know if these people like each other, are enjoying each other's company, or if like the character on the right could be like sort of threatening the one on the left. It feels like the mouth expression. It also feels like the background sort of has an abstract shape that's cut out by the faces. That's super interesting to me as well. So yeah,
like that sort of chalice or two faces optical illusion.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think this is beautiful. I think it's detailed enough that you can see like freckles and eyelashes and facial features, but it's also like retains that softness that makes it feel so calm. And I think it's got a very intentional crop as well. So they've obviously put thought in how they want this to appear. And yeah, I think it's stunning. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, I think that element of are they sort of conflicted characters, or is it quite an intimate embrace in some way? You don't know, but it leaves that open to your interpretation, and all of the different possible human interactions that this could be. Are they just whispering to one another? Is it, like you said, is it a snidey threat, almost like a quiet underhanded threat? It communicates all of that possibility really well, and that's 100% what the category wants.
And these are the shots that kind of stay within your mind because they're making you ask questions about them. Like just like the one with the shadow and the tree. It's like, how did they do it? What does it mean, etc. This one definitely makes you question what's happening, and that's why it kind of sticks to your mind, I think.
Right, so that leaves us with the final category, which is another new one this year. So it was storytelling category. The description was use visual language to create shots that go beyond aesthetics to convey meaning. This category awards images that evoke a narrative, raise questions, or invite the viewer to step into the scene. Now, I know from our comments already that we kind of expect a lot of that anyway, or at least that's another thing that makes great images. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to make this a specific category, is to really make people think about what it is that the images are saying to the viewer. This one, I have to show it because as soon as I saw it in the entries, I was like, I love this shot. And one of the other comments was, what's happened here? And it's exactly what I see. So it's like a moon rock surface. There's an imprint from someone clearly having fallen face first down. You've got the two hands. But then, how did they get up? And then there's just a series of footprints. Did they just step over them? I sort of read that as a second person who's just walked through the scene, either while they were still on the floor, and where have they gone?
Like you said, it's funny. It made me actually laugh when I saw it in the gallery, which is something that most shots don't do. So it definitely stands out because of that.
Yeah, it's called Mysteries of Space Exploration. It's by Toko Luke 95, and it was shot in The Invincible on PS5. And yeah, I love it personally. Right, this one, and I know that Jean, you asked particularly to highlight this, and when I first saw it, I kind of overlooked it because I just thought it was someone on a kind of isolated rock that I didn't really think about how they'd got there, and it was just a sort of partially obscured silhouette. But actually, so this is from Sneaky Mike, and it's from Cairn on PS5, which is a rock climbing game.
Yeah, exactly. And and this is why actually, I mean, I was biased because I recognized the game from the silhouette. But yeah, because I think the storytelling that's in display here really works when you know which game it comes from, which is a climbing game. So of course, like this is the whole point of the game, is to climb. I love the colors, and I also, once again, I'm gonna hammer it, I like the 916 in this shot because like the whole point of the game is to go super high up and to climb as high as you can, and they're literally at the top of the shot, and it feels like it goes on forever. And so like if they would fall, it would be super bad. So it reinforces the storytelling in this case. So yeah, it's one of the cases where I actually recognized the game, and it really heightened the story that I think the person was trying to tell.
Yeah, it's another light turned off. There you go. Yeah, you can just make out a kind of a route as well up the side there. Yeah. And I think you're right. That's what adds to it. So into the top three. So third place by Revolver, The Last of Us Part 1. And they had a comment as well with this, which was the family photo and pistol ammo on the counter tells a tragic story about this grim scene. I don't think it even needed the comment because the image tells you all of that. Other judges said top tier storytelling in a single frame. As far as storytelling goes, this one wins in my book over all of them. Well, it didn't, unfortunately.
It's a great case of environmental storytelling. All the objects tell the different stories, sort of like a detective sort of a feel to the scene, even though no detective doesn't have to exist in this world anymore. But yeah, you start to investigate all the separate elements and put it all together.
Exactly. So, I mean, some of that obviously comes down to the game design. So those items are there, but you've still got to recognize them. You've still got to frame this in a way that the viewer, from a single frame, is able to read that whole story. It's a tragic scene, but it's obviously a really effective and powerful image, actually. Second place, so the default Siuncula. I feel like I can't read with some of these. Sorry.
Doing great.
Right, so it's from Hitman Word of Ascension on PC. And in the comment again, he leaves the tool that defines him on the sand. Step by step, he moves towards the sea, a life left behind, and something unknown ahead.
Yeah, I kind of like this one because it has this. There is a typical, scene of human looking out in the horizon into some scenery and thinking, "This is we're used to this image," but this tells something else. Obviously, a firearm in a beach and a guy completely not dressed to have fun in the beach. So it does have this connection, uncommon elements on a place that we're familiar with. Weapon and a guy.
Yeah,
in a
exactly.
cold.
And he's literally turned his back on it. So again, taking into context, it's from Hitman. So this is an assassin, and he's taking a step away, leaving that life behind. Probably not, I guess.
Maybe not everybody recognized that it was from Hitman, but it's very iconic because like you have the iconic weapon, you have the iconic silhouette with the trench coat and the shaved head. So like, I immediately recognized it as Hitman, which once again kind of reinforced the storytelling, which was even further reinforced with the comment.
Okay, so on to the winner of storytelling in first place, and this has never happened before, but we have a 2-time winner, a 2-category winner. So this is again by Harry1495G. Another shot from Cyberpunk on PC, The shot is called The Witness. Another comment is, this image is really fantastic. All the right elements. Bravo. Yeah, nods of approval there. Nods of approval. Yeah.
Leo likes it because there's the car. It's not from within the car, but he still likes it.
There's the car window frame, so it's like excellent for me. The reflection, the light, the car color, the color from the sky, the shadow right in the eyes of the cat. It's like, what? This is amazing.
Yeah. It definitely feels like meticulously crafted to perfection, but it still tells a very, very interesting story. Like Leo said, like the fact that the story isn't told through the actual photograph, but through the reflection, and you're sort of seeing the cat's reaction to it. That brings another level of depth to the story, I think. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one as well.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack in this image. But like you say, it's very attention to detail is unreal. How they've obviously thought about every element. Yeah, so I'm guilty of overlooking this one the first time I saw it, but then it's not until it's one of those that kind of makes you scroll up again and you think, oh wait, what was that? And then you come a bit deeper, and yeah, it's incredible.
I can almost imagine the cat as being part of the story, actually. So we've I don't like cats, so I'm sort of imagining, no, you take the cat. But yeah, you can see it so many different ways. You know, it's the you can read this from the cat's perspective, and we know what the cat's perspective is because of the reflection, and it's even reflected in the door panel as well, by the way, not just the glass. We get the time of day. We can recognize the car. We can see, obviously, there's this confrontation going on. It's a fantastic show. Yeah. So congratulations to Harry on a second category. And yeah. So that concludes all of the category winners. So I'll just give one more chance now for people to grab some Steam codes. So these are for Necrophosis, a first-person horror adventure plunging you into a nightmarish realm teeming with grotesque forms of ominous visuals inspired by the style of H.R. Giger. Delve into eerie landscapes and uncover secrets in this atmospheric journey through the macabre. I've played that actually, and it is really nice. It's not very long, but it's a really nice experience. So that brings us on to the overall winner and virtual photographer of the year, which comes obviously from the collective scores across all these entries. And given what has just happened, it should maybe come as no surprise that the winner is, with consistently strong images across not only these, but also all of their entries in all 7 categories. And it is, again, Harry1495G, Virtual Photographer of the Year for 2025.
Congrats.
So there's a great selection of prizes coming the way of all the winners, actually. So there's tiers for each, but there's prizes for the overall, there's prizes for the category winners, and as well for the runners-up. All that's left for me is to say thank you to all the supporting partners who've made that possible this year. Thank you to you and the other judges for being on this show, but also for the hard work in narrowing down the selections from the 3,200 entries to these final winners. And thank you to everyone for watching and for taking part. Until next time. There you go.
All of these definitely made an impression in their respective category.
Yes, all his images are so amazing.